Hello, welcome back to RV Knowledge Group. Just a little video today. We're going to go over some sink tips. We just got back from essentially a 6-week trip down to Florida. Extremely hot, 100 degrees pretty much every day. Rains every day too. But you know, it's hard to keep the camper cool. I think we were about 83 degrees during the middle of the day, and that's with 2 air conditioning units and fans blowing all over. It's just really hot. So, you know, hot weather is a perfect breeding environment for all sorts of, you know, little microbes, pathogens, bacteria, mold, viruses, things like that. So we're not talking about anything crazy right now, just kind of cleanliness. So this is a sink. I just cleaned this sink. Looks pretty good. This is one that I haven't cleaned yet. Still looks pretty good. I actually clean my sinks often, but I'm going to show you something that I did when you get one of these just bottle brushes, and you got to get it just right to get it in these holes. You start scrubbing down in there. No, there's actually not a lot of stuff came up. That's good. But you want to get down in here as best you can and get some of the gook out of there. And there's a seal, there's a rubber seal there too, or sometimes it's just like a plastic, probably on RVs, plastic. But you want to get down in there and get as much gook. You can see a little bit of stuff on there that was down in the drain. This one was a lot worse. Now, this sink is my dish sink that I do the dishes in, so it gets used a lot more often. This sink is my drying sink. So one thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to kind of put the camera down for a minute here. Okay, I hate these things. I use that in this side of the sink because it'll catch most of the particulate matter. These I hate because when you put them in, they either totally seal, which I don't want, they clog up with water, or they don't sit right. You put them in and they sit kind of, you know, cockeyed like that, and it doesn't really trap anything, and then you got to, you know, reach in here and fix it. So I really dislike these, but these are a terrific place for things to grow. You can see on the bottom of this is yum. That's called biofilm. It's on everything. I mean, biofilm is always present in your house everywhere. It's especially prevalent in your black and gray tanks. They're covered with biofilm, but it's usually not bad. It generally doesn't hurt you. It's just a breeding ground for slime and bacteria. And generally, like I said, it's nothing that's going to hurt you, you know, but we don't really want to have it around. So for these things, what you want to do is pop that bottom cap off, and then this whole thing comes apart pretty easy. But this under here is where I usually find a lot of the biofilm, and they can be pretty nasty. So that's something, you know, if you've got like stinky sinks and whatnot, always just clean that stuff out. And I just use like a Lysol spray to clean these out. Another place where biofilm will accumulate, yep, right here, your dish rack. Now mine's clean. I cleaned mine. I actually had biofilm on it. And when I lifted it up, you know, depending on the kind of dish rack you have, this one even has a little place where the water should come out, but it doesn't come out enough. So the water sits in there and creates essentially like a slime. And, you know, that's potential places for getting sick. So it's just something that you want to keep an eye out for. The other thing with these sinks is this sink, if we go underneath here, these sinks are plumbed together. So the left-hand side sink goes into the right-hand side sink. All right, so they both go into that trap down there. So the left side goes into the right side. Because of that, they actually put, and it's going to be very hard to see, if not impossible to see, but down here, let's see if we can get this to work. Probably not, with my luck. On this side of the drain, there is actually a little piece of black plastic, and what that does is it keeps the water that's coming in from the left-hand sink, it forces it down into the pipe, because if it's splashed out horizontally, it could splash up and be coming up out of the pipe, and that's not something we want, because that's like a cross-contamination. If you had something in this sink and water was coming up, that's no good. So the pipe points down. So if you put something down there, you see that or you feel that, all that is a diverter from the left-hand sink to keep the water, force the water to go down into the sink rather than splash back up. And then honestly, let's go over to the bathroom. Same thing with your bathroom sink. I hated the little plunger that was in there because it would always, especially when you're brushing your teeth, it would always seem to seal up. And then you're like, oh great, now I got to reach into that sink full of, you know, whatever's in there. So I replaced that with a strainer too, and I found that that catches a lot more stuff that would normally go into the gray tank. Actually, in this case, this one goes into my black tank, my bathroom sink. If you didn't know that, some of your bathroom sinks may actually go into your black tank, which is great if you want to put some water in your black tank, because all you got to do is run your water. Right now I'm on a water pump, you can hear it. But then if you just leave your sink on, you're connected to city water, you just leave your sink on for a few minutes and you get, you know, a gallon or 2 or 3 in your black tank. And like I've said in my other videos, I don't fill my black tank up with 20, 30 gallons of water like some people say. I've only got a 40-gallon tank. If I fill it up with a lot of water, I just have to flush it more often. So I find, you know, 2 gallons, 3 gallons in the bottom of the tank, and then if you use, when you know, number 2, use a gallon. I keep gallon bottles in my bathroom, and so I know I use a gallon. You use a gallon every time you flush with number 2, and you're putting an entire gallon of water in there. And if you keep doing that, you really shouldn't have a problem with your black tank getting the poo pyramid, anything getting clogged up, any major stenches. So yeah, so that's about it for kind of just some basic, you know, beginner knowledge, sink tips, nothing crazy. So, all right, well, if you want to keep getting more tips like this, join us on RV Knowledge Group on Facebook. Thanks.